Okay, friends, we have one more question that I received, and this has to do with how can you see the assessments. Now, I talked about past teacher assessments in the demo video about how to pass the demo session for Data ABC. So let's look at where you would actually find these assessments. I'm going to share the screen so you can see my Data ABC teacher portal. And here we are. So let's look again at Yishan. There's two ways for me to look at the lesson that we're supposed to look at for the actual time period. So here it tells you I'm going to teach about Reach G1A right here. Click preview. Okay, and it will show up. It's about grasshoppers. This tells you what it's supposed to be about. Now, we'll click out of that. We'll go into Yishan, click the hyperlink for the student's name. You can see that he is about 13. He should be a boy. Two things to consider here. One, he may not be 13, he might be 12. Recently, in January, when the year clicked over, all the students went up by 1 year. So he might not be 13. The other thing to consider is he may or may not be a boy. I have a couple of regular students that are listed as girls, but are actually boys. So just consider when you do your first meeting that you might not want to do something gender focused because you might not have a girl or a boy as it says here. Okay, but the age though does give you a sense of what type of things that student would be interested in. These recent appointments, these are my appointments. This is the next appointment I will have for him, which will be tomorrow, 8 o'clock in China time. So remember on this screen, it's telling me 8 o'clock in China, but my time will be 6:04 a.m. Now let's go back in and look at the assessments. Go down to the previous 5 classes. I always look at the last 2 classes. You click on the assessment. It'll tell you what the grade was, what we learned that day, if we did certain sentences, whatever we did, and what he or she were good at, where they can improve, what kind of homework they do here. Now, typically, I don't do a lot of you can improve here too often. I try to keep it positive. I might say something like, well, let's review more on counting or non-counting nouns next time. This is an area that we're going to work on, but not necessarily that I want to point out something negative. We want to keep it positive. And then we give them a little bit of homework. We always have to give them homework. And we also always need to fill in each one of these blanks. If you don't fill in the blank, the assessment will come back to you. Okay. The other thing I do is I add bookmark page at the bottom. We used to have a system last year where it would show you the exact page number of where the student and you had finished. But now in the new system that we use, you don't see that marking until the 5 minutes before you go to class. So it's kind of helpful if it's there. If not, just remember, as I said in the demo, you may have to practice for the whole lesson, even though the student may be in the middle of the lesson because you've never taught the student before. Okay. Very good. So that's where you can find the assessments and see what teachers have said prior to you coming in for your demo class. Do keep in mind that you might get 24 hours, you might get a couple of hours. Usually they're going to try to give you 24 because it's the first time you've seen that student and you're going to have to prepare a bit. but it's possible to get that class a couple of hours before. A tip is to download the app for Dada ABC and make sure they have your email, because they will email you and also send a notification to your app that a student has been scheduled for you. And that way, you know, right then, ooh, okay, let me go check and see which student I have and start working on this plan. All right, that's it for now. Bye-bye.